Hello again and welcome back to another episode of Resining of the Living Dead. Christmas in July has come and gone, so we are going to be back to doing traditional molds in traditional colors as we move forward for the month. So what we have here is a 3D printed sunrise. It is very thin, as you can see here. It is paper thin almost. 3D printed by a friend of mine. But what we are going to do is using some resin tape. We're going to put the resin tape underneath. We are going to use the hole makers once we get the resin tape on, and we're going to put our holes here and here in the top portion of the mold. And then using our Let's Resin alcohol inks, we are going to do a stained glass idea that hangs in the window. So we have a medium yellow, which is going to go in the alternating spots. We have regular yellow. We have a dandelion yellow, which may be for our center part of our sun. We have a baby blue, which is going to be for the portion here in the middle. We are going to use cranberry, and this is azure blue, which is going to go in one of these lower portions. This is purplish red. Purplish red and the cranberry are going to be alternating for the ring around the outside. This is traditional blue, which is going to go in the third portion of the bottom. We already did that one, and baby blue we already did. So 3 blues on the 3 bottom lines, yellow in the center, and then alternating yellows around the outer edge, or excuse me, around the outer part of the sun, and then again the cranberry and the purplish red, which is going to fill in these spots. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to be putting our resin tape behind it, because we can't pour it directly onto anything in order to ensure that it stays where it is. So we are going to take this tape, and of course, now that it folded back, bear with me one moment while we try to detach the tape from the roll. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to take this tape and we are going to place the frame onto the tape. So let me just roll out this tape for a moment, and then we are going to place it down as best we can. And because this is a little bit wider than the tape, we are going to place the tape down. I'm going to spread the tape out as best we can with our one hand. Let me do this. There we go. Now then we're going to place this down, make sure that we have it on the right side. So we're going to put it down as close to the edge as we can, like so. And we're going to press it down over the entirety, because we want to make sure that every area in this is adhering to the tape. And we'll just run our finger along it and press it down. All right, then what we're going to do is we're going to, well, not that. So we're going to do is we're going to get our scissors here, and we're going to cut this away. And then we're going to, you know, it's tough to be a left-hander sometimes. All right, so let's move that up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut another little piece for the other side, for that part that's not covered. So let's see, is that going to fit? Yeah, it'll fit. And we don't need a whole lot because we want it to be aligned with it. And before I do that, let me just pop down a corner of my tape, move that to the side, and then we are going to put this up. Carefully with my fingers, we're going to place this portion over and align it up like so. And then we're going to press it down. And that will keep our resin within the frame. So we're going to do, because we don't need all this extra, we're just going to cut away. I'm just going to cut away this outer ring from here because we don't need all this tape on it, and it'll fit better. It will fit better on our plate that's going to go into the pressure pot once we are done pouring. And then what we're going to do, I'm coming off the camera mode, so bear with me one second as we cut this. I don't want to cut it too close, but I don't want to have so much that it's going to come out, you know, it's going to have a problem. So let's just run our finger over it one more time. Just pat that down so it is stuck to the resin tape. All right, I think we are stuck down. I don't think there's anywhere that I haven't pressed. So what we're going to do is, using our pressure pot plate, we're going to go ahead and work on that spot because we want to be able to go right into the pressure pot once it is done. We are going to be using these hole makers for resin because we want to be able to hang this up when it's done. And I don't think we need the big holes, so I think these the smaller ones, they're not the tiniest ones, but they're like, I don't know, let's see, they're like 3 millimeter. So we're going to put one here in the middle of this one, and here in the middle of that one. So that's going to be how it's going to hang up. I'm just going to give it an eyeball test, and it looks like it's pretty centered. So what we're going to do is we are going to mix up some resin. We don't need a whole lot of each, so it's going to be relatively little. So we're going to be using our Dixie cups to make it. So let me go ahead and get it together, and we'll be right back. All right, so we have mixed up, we did about 6 ounces of resin. I'm not sure that that's what I need. If that's too much, too little, we're gonna do our best. But we're starting out with the medium yellow Let's Resin alcohol ink, and we've mixed it into a Dixie cup with a little bit of the resin, and this is going to be our center part of our sun. So what we're going to do is very carefully, slowly pour it into the center portion. And allow it to just flow into the space. And hopefully it doesn't overflow. And that is going to stay just like that. So what we're going to do now, because the other pieces are going to need a little bit more, so we are going to put a little bit more than what we did for that one. And we actually might even use a little bit of that and let it blend. But we're going to pour a little bit of the resin in because we need to be able to fill up alternating spaces. And we are going to be using the traditional yellow. So what I'm going to do is pause for a moment. I'm going to mix up the 2 yellows that we're going to be using for the top, or this portion of the sun, the beams, and see what we've got. So let's just pour a little bit more in there. And the good thing is, by doing it this way, if we end up needing more of one color, when we get toward the end, it's easier for us to make up some. So let me go ahead and mix up our next yellows, and I'll be right back. All right, so we've mixed up some more of the yellows. And this time it's going to be alternating. So we are going to start over on the left, and we're going to do a little bit into this part and let it sit, let it spread out for a minute, and then this part, we'll let that spread, this part, and then this part. Oops, a little bit fast pour. We're going to go nice and easy because we want to be able to spread it with our stick as opposed to pouring it too much. And then we will go ahead and add more as needed because we don't want it to overflow into any of the other colors. And this 3D printed frame should allow that. If we need to get something else to kind of spread it around, then we will use the back of a paintbrush. Okay, that looks good. And then we're gonna, ooh, it moved. Oh, it's okay if it moves because it's on the sticky paper. So that's fine. We're gonna just push it a little bit into these corners. And you can see, let me get just a drop over here. There we go. Let's see how that looks. I see a spot up here that needs some. We're gonna just push him out to the edge. Nice. Perfect. All right, that looks good. So now we're going to take our other yellow and we're going to go here. Let it spread out. Oops, a little drop went into the other one. That's okay. We're going to be very careful. We're going to pour up here. Let that spread a little bit. And then down here, my hands are shaky, so we want to just be careful. Let me grab the back of a very small paintbrush and use that to kind of spread it. It's hard to see if I'm going over the edge. I'm trying not to, as best as I can. And I don't know if you could see that, but the one that we just pressed kind of filled in. And then there. Okay. That looks good so far. So what we're going to do now is get our blues and do our 3 blues. Alright, so we're going to pour our blue into the top. Oh, you know what? I've got 2 Dixie cups here. That's going to make it a little bit difficult to pour. So let me go ahead and get rid of one, and then we're going to pour that one in this top. Oh no, we got a little bit went over. Shoot! Let me see if I can fix that. I don't want green. There we go. We're gonna, let's see, we got a little bit over. I got to be really mindful of that when I'm doing this, because it is imperative that we don't spill over into the other edges. You can see we're gonna get some green. And I think what we can do is we can kind of scoop that out in a moment. Alright, so we're going to do the next blue, and I think if I could just not hit the camera, we're going to, maybe we'll pour it here. I'm just going to try to pour it in the middle, and then we'll spread it out. If we keep it near the middle, maybe it's a little less likely to overflow. And then we'll use the back of our paintbrush here to kind of push it into the corners. You can see the yellow is bleeding. So for a first attempt, I think this is going to have some problems, but we will keep on as best as we can. Maybe what we'll do is we'll blend that yellow in a little bit. I don't know if it's coming from underneath or if it's coming from, you know, we pressed that down pretty solid, and I don't know, you know, why it's doing that, but I don't know if it's bleeding over or bleeding under. It's hard to tell. So we're gonna leave it like that, and then we're gonna use this this lighter blue here. And again, we will use our, let's not make a mess. Let's try not to make a mess. And let's just spread it out for a moment, and then we'll add more in a minute if we need to. I'm hoping that it'll still show through here with the light once it, you know, hardens up, or, you know, once we get it in the pressure pot. Hopefully it'll be okay. Need to push this one over here in this corner, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take I'm going to just wipe off the frame. Alright, I think that is good. Not happy with that top one, but nothing I can do about it now, short of maybe, oh, yeah, that's what it did. I poured a little bit too much. You can see it's overflowing, but we'll swirl it a little bit to kind of blend it. But that yellow green is going to be, there's nothing we can do about that. Alright, and now what I'm going to do is get the last of it, and we're going to do the outer ring. Let me grab the other colors. And so we got our two remaining colors, and we're going to start, let's start up here at the top, because I think we're going to need the working space. So we're going to just do a little bit in this one. I may need to turn this a little bit to kind of work near it. Yeah, it's a good idea. So we're going to do a little bit here, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to spread it out with our paintbrush. and then that will be this one. Get that drop. All right, and then this one. As you can see, it's in there. And then this one. Alright, let's set that to the side for a moment, because it is going to drip, and I just don't want to get this on my hands. Oh, and I did. I got a torn glove. So I think these are a little too close to color, but we'll learn from this, and the next one will do better. I promise. We're just going to be nice and easy. Okay. And then we're going to go up here and do this one. And hopefully my arm is not in the way and you can see it. Okay. And then this one. I'm sorry, my arm is in the way on this one. It's I should have turned it, but I didn't, so I apologize for you seeing my arm. Alright, let me get my paintbrush and try to spread this out here. Like I said, we'll wipe off the edges in a moment. And then there. Okay. And put a drop in that corner. There we go. It's going to turn this a little bit so we have a little bit of an easier spot to work with, and also it'll let us see things like that where it wasn't quite in all the edge. It wasn't up, it didn't quite spread out evenly, and we may add just a little drop into some of these if we need to, but it doesn't look like we're going to need to at the moment. Okay, we're going to turn it and we'll spread it out. So like a paint by numbers. This one may need a drop. Okay. And now here's the mystery part. Which color was which? As they are so close together. So, lesson learned from the next time. I believe it was this one. Yep, it's this one. We're just going to give it a little bit in there because we don't want it to overflow into the other colors, and like the other ones did. So I don't know if the key is to have it printed a little deeper. So while I'm doing that, let me just work with the same color. Make sure that you are in the camera. We're going to add just a drop over here, because I didn't put enough. And then what we'll do is we will go back around with the other color so we can kind of make sure that we keep it separate, and we don't want it to blend like the yellow did. And I think that was just because we poured just a touch. Shoot, it stuck to my finger. Hold on. Alright, so here's the issue with working with a double-sided tape, or single-sided tape, is that if you touch it with your finger, it is going to stick to you and make your progress, you know, make this progress a lot harder. So let me get a little bit more in this one, just a drop. And we're gonna again spread it out here, and we're gonna make sure that we don't knock the hole maker. We don't want to knock that out either, because that's what's going to give us our hanging ability when we get to that point. So I think that looks good. And that is it with that color. So let me move this color out of the way so I don't accidentally use it, and bring down my other reddish color. And we'll start up here, and we're just gonna continue to work it into the gap. And what we're gonna do when we're done is we're gonna give it a brief spray with the isopropyl alcohol, so that it will not bubble up and cause issues. I'm going to give it one more little drop in here. Bear with me. Okay. I think that is enough. Just going to paint it in, and voila, we are done. So what I'm going to do is give this, oh, thank goodness that knocked over but did not do anything. Alright, so what we're going to do is give this a brief spray, a real quick spray with our isopropyl alcohol. That will help some of the bubbles that are going to be there now. And what we're going to do is we are going to put this into our pressure pot, turn it on for the night, and then we will be back to demold in about 24 hours. See you then. Alright, we are out of the pressure pot, and as you can see, some of the colors ran over into the others. So I don't know if what that means is, well, I do know. I over poured. Some of these are lower. It's still, I think, a little soft. You see. So I'm not going to take the tape off yet. We're going to give it a little more time, and we're just going to let it sit out like this for maybe about another 24 hours, and then we will be back to take the tape off the back and see the results. The yellows look okay, and the outer edges look okay, except for where it bled over. But I do think that that's just because of pouring. This area here, they're fine. They're aligned. They're not really over. This one's a little bit over, but clearly not enough over because the blue ran out and not the red in. So, all right, well, for the first attempt, but we'll be back in about 24 hours to take the tape off the back and see the results. See you then. All right, we are back to take the tape off now. What I can see already is that I over poured some of the spaces. You can see here where the blue came over. here where the lighter blue came over, and I can see because I can't feel the ridges at all. So on the next time, I'm going to need to make sure that I pour less into the molds. So what we'll do is we'll start by taking out our suction cups. Maybe. Yeah. And they'll go back in the box for next time. And what we're going to do is we are going to flip it over. And we're going to peel this tape off and hope that it doesn't take the resin with it. So we'll just do this one. That came off fine. Goodness. All right, so one other thing that I see here is there's a groove where the tape was, because the tape isn't wide enough, and there's like this spot here where it went over, so we'll have to be mindful of that the next time. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, it came out nicely. I think that's tape, isn't it? Let's see. Or is that resin? I can't tell. I think that's where the tape was. But here, it may just be the pour. It is really hard to tell. I don't like that. I'm not sure how to fix that unless you're using a wider tape or a skinnier mold. Still, it looks okay. I mean, for a first attempt, it's not bad, but it'll definitely have some spaces for improvement. If you enjoyed watching the video, certainly appreciate the hitting that like button. If you hit the subscribe button, you will be notified when videos are released. You're going to try to do at least a couple a week. Shares are appreciated. If you have a comment, suggestions on how to improve this process, please, by all means, put them in the comments. I read every single one of them and will respond to every single one of them. And I will see you on the next one.